Hey, do you keep thinking you need to teach that young athlete in your life how to toughen up? Well, mental toughness in sports might not look how you think it looks. Keep watching to find out how to maintain emotional safety in kids while also nurturing mental toughness and grit. So, the first thing that you want to do and we want to help your kids do is to stop comparing themselves. When you see them saying, "Oh, he's way better than me," or if you say somebody mocking somebody that's not as good as them, as a coach, help stop that kind of behavior. Let them know, no, dude, don't say that, he's way better than you. Look at it, admire how good that person is, and then consider how you yourself can be great in your own right. I think about athletes like Larry Bird, one of the great basketball players to play the game. Athletically, with his skill set, not the greatest athlete. He didn't jump very high. He couldn't run very fast. He kind of walked like a duck, right? But he was a master of the game. He could pass, he could shoot, he could do so many things. And that is what he did to overcome his physical limitations. And he played with the best of the best at a level that is relatively unparalleled, right? Like, he was great. I mean, there's other great players as well. I just picked him. There's lots of guys like that go in, they figure out how to make their lives better, and they do it. Steph Curry, small, very fast guy, but considered somebody that would never be that great in the game when he was playing and often overlooked when he was in college, came into the NBA. Nike passed on him as an all-star. That's why he went to Under Armour, because they were comparing him to others thinking he wasn't great. Steph did not compare himself, and he changed the face of the whole game with how he played with the three-point shot. He found a way because he did not compare. He looked at who he was. Stop comparing. Number 2, identify where you are mentally tough. Every one of us is tough somewhere. Maybe your mental toughness comes from your ability to understand the game. You know that how every play goes. You know all that stuff, but maybe you're not so mentally tough when it comes to sticking to your defender because you're not as fast and you need to figure out how to have better footwork and positioning to make up for your lack of speed. Figure out where you're mentally tough. Take that template of toughness and then put it on a place where you're weak and offer yourself a chance to build. So that is number 3. Once you know where you're mentally tough, you find a space where you're weak and what it is that you want to work on. This can be not just mental stuff, it can be physical stuff, and particularly in sports, right? You find that little place that you need to improve. And when you do that, it can be hard. It's not fun, right? If you're right-handed and you're dribbling down the lane and going hard right all the time and doing well, eventually everyone's going to figure out, well, just turn this guy to the left. He's got no left hand. So work on your left hand. Build that up. Do it incrementally. Start in practice. Start, in the gym by yourself. Work on those things until you develop the ability to be strong in that space. I remember when I'm left-handed, and I always had to use my right hand, and I was okay with my right hand, but I wasn't great at all. And I remember working on my right hand so that I could shoot anywhere kind of inside the paint, inside the circle. I wasn't great at that, but I got to a point where I felt pretty comfortable. If I went up with a left-hand shot and I saw somebody who's going to block me, I could go up and go right. I could adjust and do that without thinking. That was a big deal for me. These are the things that you work on, right? Pick that space, make the change, and as you do and you begin to see success in building your weaknesses into strengths, this will create grit and toughness in your mentality as well. Number 4, offer yourself compassion for your failures. I will never forget the years that I struggled with as a kid, losing the final game of my 7th grade year. We were up by 1 point. There were, I think, like 20 seconds on the clock, maybe less. At that age, there was not supposed to be a full court press. They protected us from it, so I was not prepared for a full court press. They inbounded the ball to me. I was supposed to carry it up the floor, and there was a full court press. I panicked, I tripped and fell, lost the ball, the team scored, and we lost the game. It was so embarrassing. I couldn't believe that I had tripped and fallen and lost the game, and they weren't even supposed to full court press. I had all these excuses. And honestly, I carried that all the way through high school. That silly little loss stuck with me because I could not forgive myself for that failure. I was so embarrassed by it. It actually plagued me, and it made me avoid game closing shots even when coaches were asking me to take them. I was a good player, but when it came to a game closer, I didn't want to take it because of that one incident. It took me years to get over that. Because I wasn't offering myself compassion for the failure, I was beating myself up for it. Offer yourself compassion, and the failure becomes a learning point. I could have then evaluated very clearly, I have now, what I did in that situation. It doesn't bother me anymore. I get it. I get what happened. Stuff happens. It was a small game. It didn't matter. And I can mess up now and not really worry about it. That's an important part of grit. Fifth thing, make sure the reps on whatever it is you're practicing, that new thing that you're trying to build, that weakness that you're trying to improve, make sure the reps that you're doing are incrementally small enough that you can be successful, right? So, if you're trying to develop, say, your left hand and you're not good at it, that's okay. Just start by dribbling up and down with a ball, or by throwing the ball, or whatever it is, that one little thing that you can do. And don't worry about not being good at it. Keep doing it till you get good, then move to the next stage, and the next stage, and the next stage. And you'll find all of a sudden, if you take the time and give yourself the compassion, that you are successful in a space that you at one time felt like you weren't. So, these steps, if you follow them, will build within you skill and grit and mental toughness, because you will begin to understand that failure helps teach you that deficiencies that you have can be overcome, and that you have the capacity to approach a problem without fear and without diminishing yourself and overcoming it. It's a powerful thing for a kid to learn. And these are lessons that can be extrapolated from the place of sports and put into every aspect of your life. When I was a kid playing basketball for the first time, I was in 6th grade, and I made it on the team. And I actually didn't play that whole year. I played, I think, 30 seconds of the last game of my 6th grade. The coach put me in on the floor. I practiced on 10-foot hoops all the time, and I got the ball. I think I stole the ball because nobody would pass to me, and I shot. And the ball went up over the backboard and out of bounds. That was my one play for the whole game. And at the end of that game, the coach came to me and he said, "Don't ever play basketball. You'll never be good enough." And that lit a fire in me. And then I went and played at my brother, who was a high school basketball player. And I thought he was the best player in town. He wasn't, but I thought he was. He put on a basketball camp with his other buddy, and I paid to go to it with a bunch of kids. There was probably 20 of us. And he was hard on me. And I was like kind of whining about it and collapsing and giving up, because I had in the back of my mind the fact that I was no good, and that my coach had told me I was no good and hadn't played, and I wasn't getting what I felt was positive affirmation from my brother to make me think any otherwise. And my brother pulled me out of the gym after I'd kind of melted down at one point. And he said to me, he's 6 years older than me, he said, "James, I need you to toughen up." And I looked at him like, "Well, you're being mean to me." And he said, "I'm not being mean to you." He's like, "I'm being hard on you, and I expect you to rise to the occasion because you have talent. You're good at this. And if you will just toughen up and play and quit whining, everyone else will see it." He was direct, he was honest, and he was motivating by letting me know that I had skill and that what he was doing was helping to nurture it in me. I changed right then. I worked my butt off. And the next year, I was a starter on my 7th grade basketball team. And it kind of made me really excited. It changed the whole trajectory of my game in basketball. I became a starter on every team I ever played after that. And it was fun. I loved it. But when I was 16, my brother, who I hadn't seen for a while, came home. He was 21. And we played basketball. And I was much better than I had been, and we hadn't seen each other in a couple years. And first of all, he played my friend who was 18. He was 2 years older than me, and he was one of the top players in the province where I lived. And we played. He was better than me, but I was close. I could compete against him. But when we played 1-on-1, we would play to 21, and I'd lose by 2 or 3 points every game. But I could be right in it. I always thought maybe I'd beat him, but I never did. My brother played him a game of 1-on-1, and he beat my brother. And I thought, I could beat my brother too. And I played my brother, and he destroyed me. He had this mental mindset of knowing that he was stronger than me. But you know what happened? Because I was in a space where I knew that I was a way better player, and I knew what I could do, and I knew that I had not delivered my best against my brother, I played him again, and he beat me. And I played him again, and he beat me. I played him, and I probably beat him because I was in better physical shape than him at the time. He hadn't been working out because he got tired, but I played him until I beat him. And when I did, it changed my mentality. I stayed at it, I fought, I stuck with it, and my brother played with me and allowed me to do it. So as someone that is an athlete playing against someone that is less skilled than you or even equally skilled, he never let up. He played his hardest against me. He forced me to do my best to beat him. And when I did, and when I had won, regardless of his conditioning, it changed my mentality of what I was capable of. At 16, I knew I could beat a 21-year-old. That changed the way I played on the floor when I was playing at school against kids my age. I can beat a 21-year-old. You're only 16 just like me. This built toughness and grit in me. All of these things came from following those first 4 steps and having someone beside me that could help hone my skills, uplift me, not give me the opportunity to cower and shrink and hide and whine and disappear. This is how we build our mental toughness in sports with kids. And that type of toughness can be transferred into every aspect of our life. Hope you can use this for yourself. And stick around if you want to find out more of how we can face the future without fear. Because fear is something that can keep us from performing well. I'm James Burnham. Thanks for joining me.